What's going on, Stadium Rant fans? This is Dirty Leather episode number 1. This is Doug coming at you, and we got Will here as well, and Nick, King Will and Nick, joining me from their Ringside Rant crew, but they're also chiming in with Dirty Leather. So welcome to the first show, and we'll do some quick introductions. So I'm Doug, and we're going to go around the table here, and we'll just introduce ourselves quickly, and just one quick rant or chirp, I suppose. One ballpark that you hope to visit in 2025, and then we'll get into the juicy baseball news after that. So again, I'm Doug, and one ballpark that I think I'm going to visit this year is Target Field in Minnesota. We're going to go for a road trip and hope to hit the Field of Dreams. There's no Field of Dreams game this year at that field, the cornfield in Iowa. It's at Rickson Stadium in Alabama again. But we hope to hit that field on the way, the Iowa field on the way to Target Field. And that's the ultimate destination. And then the long drive home. How about you guys? Any destinations in mind? Ballparks?
My name's Will. I'm planning to go to the baseball game at Bristol Motor Speedway and also hopefully check out Yankee Stadium.
Nice.
Dude, my name is Nicholas. Yankees are my team. Yankee Stadium would probably be my pick, especially for the best team in the AL, in my opinion. No offense. I know you guys are Boston fans, but yeah.
Well, I don't know. The AL is kind of up in the air, and we're going to talk about that. The tide is definitely turning in the AL. A lot of major news and kind of devastating news out of Yankee camp.
Yeah, you're getting me into stage 1 depression now, are you? You're grinding my gears, mister. Grinding my gears.
And you're making my day.
What do you mean you're making your day? What does that mean?
Garrett Cole gone, Stanton gone. The Yankees don't have an MLB quality third baseman. I hope they.
It's a perfect segue.
Third place.
It's a perfect segue into our first conversation piece would be, or our first rant would be the 3 top winners, and 3 biggest losers this past offseason. If you guys need to take a minute to think about that, go ahead. But I'll go through mine
right here.
What's that?
I got my notes right here.
Yeah? Okay. Well, for me, the biggest winners, because they don't care about the competitive balance tax, the CBT, would be, well, all 3 of these teams don't really care about that. But first and foremost, the Dodgers, who blew right past the CBT and signed Roki Sasaki. They beefed up. They got Teoscar coming back. Right, the bullpen is still is what it is. They got Ohtani coming back on the mound. They're just sharp. There's no weaknesses, no holes. If they want to go with a 6-man starting rotation, they can. And yeah, they're just stacked. And the second team would be the Mets, who again, with Steve Cohen at the helm, cleared right past the CBT with the deal with Soto, well past $700 million. So Soto's the man there. They have some injuries right now with Manaea, their ace to think about, but they always seem to figure it out with the starting rotation. And with Alonso coming back, they were unsure of that, but they were able to secure that so that Vientos can play third. The infield is as balanced as any team in MLB. Bullpen is good. Diaz is a little bit shaky at the back end, but they got some arms coming out of the pen. And then my third team on the winner's side would be the D-backs. Most obviously because of Corbin Burns. Probably the best, most reliable starter in MLB over the last 4 or 5 years. And then on the loser's side, I've got the Orioles. Still a great team, but they really did nothing to improve their roster. And their starting rotation is subpar. It's just not that great. And with Batista coming back as closer, there's some questions about whether he'll be able to come back with full strength. And another one is the Phillies, who seem to kind of remain stagnant, didn't do anything to improve their team. They got Jordan Romano in the bullpen, but that's not really anything to speak too highly of. And the third one is the Yankees as a loser for the offseason. Not for lack of trying. They definitely went out there and tried to sign Soto. They got Goldschmidt. We'll see what he can be. See what happens with him. He's definitely in the later stages of his career. Bellinger, question marks there. And the bullpen. Sure, Devin Williams is lights out, but he's coming back from Tommy John. So just some major questions. And most obviously, the Garrett Cole injury. Okay. And again, that's unintentional. Nobody saw that coming, I don't think.
He was having, I'm sorry to interrupt you. He was having elbow issues during the playoffs.
He was.
I'm not shocked. Then again, this is the decade of Tommy Johns. Like every pitcher basically has it now. Like it's almost like
that's right. I just put an article out about that today. I just put an article.
Yeah, it was a great article, by the way, too.
Thanks. So the writing was sort of on the wall. He opted out of the contract because he had that opt-out clause, and then he opted back in like 12 hours later. So it's something was going on. Somebody knew. The writing was on the wall. You're right. He did have some arm issues last year. Spent the first half of the year sidelined. Came back strong, as everybody saw in the World Series, despite that mysterious fifth inning where everything sort of collapsed. But he was strong when he came back. So even in that spring training game, those 2 innings, like his velocity was up around 97. So there was no real cause for concern until he started complaining of discomfort after the game. So very disappointing news. Huge shock coming out of Yankees camp. And that's why I've got them, unfortunately, on the loser's side. Because I do kind of pull for the Yankees. It's great for baseball to see them do well. I always want them to do well. It's not like I really cheer again or really cheer against them rather. Or I want to see them be successful. It's great for the game. And I just don't like the direction the team's going out of camp. So those are my 3 on the top and 3 on the bottom. Whoever wants to go next, go right ahead.
My 3 biggest winners, I have the Dodgers, obviously, and I think this is the reason there's going to be a lockout, the CBT, who cares. But they added Blake Snell and Ruki Sasaki, both to the starting line and rotation. Their AAA rotation is going to be better than most teams' Major League rotation. They also added Kirby Yates and Tanner Scott to their bullpen to shore that up. The second winner, I got my Red Sox, the best team in the American League, hands down. We added Garrett Crochet, Walker Buehler, Alex Bregman, Aroldis Chapman. We got Roman Anthony, Marcelo Meyer. I'm forgetting one. Because we had the big 3. I'm just forgetting who the third one is at the moment. For the third winner, I got the Mets, Juan Soto, Sean Manaea, Clay Holmes, and Jesse Winker. Doug, do you happen to know who the Red Sox third big one is?
On the pitching side or on they got Walker Buehler, they got Garrett Crochet, they got Walker Buehler, they got Aroldis Chapman, they got Liam Hendricks.
Sandoval.
They got,
And then on the Blues.
Go ahead.
On the losers, it kills me to say this because Nick's one of my good friends. You got the Yankees because they lost Juan Soto, Garrett Cole, to Tommy John. Stanton's on the IR. The Yankees, for all the money they spent, do not have an MLB quality third baseman anywhere on the roster. My second loser is the San Diego Padres because they lost Tanner Scott, Profar, Martin Perez, Solano. And my third loser is the Cardinals. They lost Paul Goldschmidt to the Yankees. They couldn't trade Arenado. They added nothing of value. And they have no sense of who they're trying to build a franchise around.
Mm-hmm.
I like it, except for the Yankees part, because they are not losers. They're not winners either. They're okay. In the middle off season, I give them.
They did add Max Fried.
Yeah, not only that, they also still have a very good prospect pool. And we'll see how Dominguez does, but I'm really liking some of the pitching prospects they got.
So I guess Cabrera is going to be the opening day starting third baseman?
Yeah. I think that's the plan, unless
Yeah.
an injury happens. But
And LeMahieu's out of the picture.
yeah,
completely.
he's been. What a mistake it was signing him to that big contract. I mean, I love LeMahieu, but man, that was a mistake.
Yeah,
But-
he's still only 3 years removed from a batting title, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah. His decline has been down. I got my own three winners: the Dodgers and Mets. I'm not going to waste my time going there. Third winner, the Cincinnati Reds. I think they won in the offseason, not only because they got McLean, they got Strand, like they're having McLean and Strand come back from their injuries. They brought in Stinger, Hayes, Gavin Lux, who I was shocked that they got him. I didn't think he would go to the Reds. The coaching changes, the managerial changes have been great for the past few years. I really like where the Reds are going.
So it's India out at second and Lux in, right?
Yes, that sounds like the plan. Losers. I gotta mention them because they are the definition of a loser franchise. The Chicago White Sox. Why is Jerry Reinsdorf still the owner? That's a loss in general. Who, by the way, the only reason why he has a reputation in the first place was because he lucked into Michael Jordan at 3 with the Chicago Bulls. He's a terrible baseball owner. Yes, they did win a World Series under his tenure, but that was the luckiest of all luck. Like, it's like the John Tyler of World Series wins, if you know what I mean.
Reds won already by getting rid of Bell.
Yeah.
Buddy Bell? Yeah.
Another team that I got to put as losers, the Tampa Bay Rays, especially with what happened with their stadium. And they're having ownership issues, too. I don't know what's going on there. Stuart Sternberg's a terrible
And just yesterday, they announced they're going to cancel the plans for the new $1.3 billion stadium.
Exactly.
I saw that as well. But the top end of their rotation with McClanahan and Pepio is pretty amazing.
Pepio was born not far from where I'm sitting.
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
It is, but the problem, like, you have to include all the external factors, like what happened to stadium. Now they got to go play where the Yankees prospects play.
But
Florida, which is going to be a pain in the neck.
The Jays had to make that adjustment during the pandemic in 21, right? And that's when Vladdy had his almost MVP year. So it could work out favorably for them.
That's true. I mean, Vladdy did do great. And for the future New York Yankee, I can't wait to see him in pinstripes. We'll see how it does for the Rays. But with how bad their ownership is and the fact they canceled their stadium deal, like, you got to start talking about potential relocation as a factor here. I don't think it's going to happen because if they did, they would have moved to Montreal, like when they were planning to do the half Montreal, half Tampa Bay home stupidity. Was dumb and I hated it.
Yeah.
But we'll see. The third one I have is a tie. One's mainly due to reputation, the other because they don't care about winning. Tie for third, the A's. Because they screw John Fisher. And yes, they did bring in Luis Severino. They finally spent because they're out of Oakland now. But good luck playing in Sacramento for 3 years.
See those small ballparks in the summertime, they can be real just bandbox parks where home runs get hit in massive proportions.
Yeah.
So it could be a real game changer with them playing at home in that park. It's so hot in Sacramento in the summertime, and same with Florida, and the ball just carries, man.
Oh God, it does. But with how the Las Vegas stuff has been going on, and the stuff I've heard about, like, I guess, like the land issues they've been having there, it's a total mess. I'm gonna throw in a dishonorable mention because this team doesn't care about like winning. Colorado Rockies, they are another loser franchise. They don't care about winning, and when your top paid player and Chris Davis, not done
the AL East yet?
Not 6 months into the tenure. Yeah. When your top player, Chris Bryant, who's the top paid player, basically admits he regrets signing here, you got problems.
Yeah,
I love the uniforms though.
He is the face of the demise. He is the face of the demise of that franchise the past few years.
They've never recovered since they traded Nolan Arenado for some double bubble and old Tupac CDs.
Yeah. And Matt Holliday, since he left town, it seems
Charlie Blackman. And Charlie Blackman's done too.
He's done as well. Yeah. Retired as of last year. Have we done the AL East yet? No, we're coming to that. It's next piece on the agenda. It's interesting that you'd say Oakland was on your loser side, right?
Yes.
Nicholas? Yeah. I don't know. I think they might surprise some people. I really do. Kotze is such a grinder of a manager, and he can just make the most, like Kevin Cash, make the most out of very little. And it doesn't take much to put them over the hump. They've got the best closer in the game. Mason Miller's the best closer in the game.
And they got one of the worst ownerships in the league. Like John
Yeah.
Fisher's ownership matters in sports. And you could I'll give you an example of this. The Washington Nationals, ever since their owner passed on and they sold their team to I forgot who their owner is.
I forgot who it is too, but
yeah.
Scott
But
Boras,
point is,
Boras
ever since they sold, that franchise has never been the same. And heck, I'll even throw in another example: the Carolina Panthers of the NFL. Ever since Dave Tepper bought into the team, that franchise has never recovered. Then again,
you're a fan of the perfect example. Your Charlotte Hornets owner is horrible.
Well, it's an upgrade over Michael Jordan. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Upgrade over.
Well, let's get back to the next agenda piece, because we covered a lot with those winners and losers this past offseason. But let's get to the AL East. And given the seismic shift of things that have happened in the past week or so with injuries and major headlines, what's your prediction there, 1 through 5? I'm going to go. I've always said the Rays, that this move is going to work out favorably for them. And they've got Caminero, who's on the verge of becoming a superstar. I think he can really carry that lineup. And that team just grinds. When there's uncertainty elsewhere in the division, one thing is certain, is that Tampa Bay will be competitive. They will always be competitive. So you're not going to see them really fluctuate too much up and down. So if there's uncertainty in the rest of the division, then that means Tampa Bay is going to rise to the top. So I kind of see them moving up towards the top of the division. And I see the Blue Jays having upgraded this past offseason. They've got Max Scherzer as their 4th or 5th starter in their rotation. A really healthy, solid rotation. They've got Gausman, Bassett, Bowden Francis, who really emerged as a stud last year, Barrios, and then Scherzer. So 1 through 5, that's about as good as it gets.
I'm surprised Scherzer wanted to go there, to be honest with you. When I heard,
well, I don't know who else would take him. Who else would take him for that money, right?
You could maybe because I'm trying to think here. Maybe Minnesota?
Possibly, yeah. Well, Rogers has the Jays ownership is actually the 2nd wealthiest in all of MLB. So they're not afraid of spending. And if they're going to toss
that's true.
for a year,
the reason why no one wants to go to the Blue Jays is because they're in the AL East. It's one of the best divisions in baseball, and
that's right. But with the uncertainty right now and Scherzer at the back end, they beefed up their bullpen a little bit. They got Hoffman from the Phillies. He's an ex-closer. They've got Chad Green. He's probably going to step in and take the closer role. Plus Yimi Garcia. They don't really have a lefty in the bullpen, but it's still pretty good on the back end. And they've got Guerrero and Bichette, who are both playing for free agency. They're both contracts.
And for all the Yankee fans,
so those two guys are just going to be playing their absolute best, you would think. What's that?
And for all the Yankee fans out there who actually listen to Vladimir Guerrero Jr., he says every day he wants to play for the Red Sox. He will play for the Red Sox.
Pinstripes, he means. Pinstripes.
But as far as my AL East goes, I have the Red Sox.
He's not going anywhere this year.
No, he's going to stay as a Blue. But let's be real. He's not going to stay in Toronto. I'd be stunned if he stays in Toronto.
Beyond this year, probably not. But I've got my 1 through 5 quickly, and then I'll move on. So I've got Tampa Bay at the top. I'm going to go with Boston in 2nd. I'm going to go with the Orioles in 3rd. I'm going to go with the Jays in 4th and the Yankees in 5th. The Yankees.
You're out of your mind, dude.
Okay. Who's going to carry them? I mean, other than Judge.
Prospects.
In that lineup.
What prospects?
Prospects? The
I
prospects.
I think Jason Dominguez, he'll be
You
full
traded your
time ready
best
to go.
pitching prospect to Boston
Yeah, and we
for Alex Verdugo.
we
You
still
got
a solid
Marcus
baseball
Stroman.
team. The only
You're
hole
depending
on
on
the
Marcus
Yankees,
Stroman as your number 2 or number 3 starter.
I think he's going to be number 4. I think it's going to be number 4 because Clark Schmidt, I think I have higher than him.
Okay. You've got Fried with possible arm concerns, maybe.
Maybe,
He was
but the thing
sidelined
is,
last year for a little while.
the thing is, the Yankees still have depth, though, especially at pitching, and that goes a long way in baseball. I mean, look at last year how the arms race stuff happened, where everyone was getting hurt
Thanks,
left, right,
Austin.
and center. Oh God, Austin! No, but point is, the arms race happened, and the Yankees. The reason why the Yankees even made it that far, yes, they had Juan Soto and Aaron Judge, but their pitching, they had the depth to go that far. They did. The Met, and my concern with the Mets too is they don't really have that pitching depth. They really don't.
They're going to need an outstanding performance from Carlos Rodon. Can you see that?
I can see that as he's a potential comeback because Rodon hasn't been the greatest as a Yankee. I'll admit it myself.
He was good last year. He wasn't great. He got hit hard.
He did. He did get hit hard, but compared to the previous year before that, the previous year he wasn't good. I think.
Yeah, but Fried is the bona fide ace. But can he throw between 170 and 200 innings? I don't know.
It would depend. You know, it would really depend on if his arm could take it.
Yeah.
The thing I will agree with you on, there needs to be a third baseman, because that's their weakest point. But besides that, like, I really don't see a tremendous weakness with this team. I really don't. Like, and they have a good prospect pool. They got prospects on the way too that they can call up.
Yeah.
And they'll always be active in the trades. But listen, here's the problem. I don't see the Rays being that great. Toronto, I could maybe see. The Orioles still terrify me, and the Red Sox are still a good team. But
I think the name we're forgetting is George Lombard Jr., right? That's the kid who's everybody is high up on him. Really praising him. He's number 2 in their prospect rankings behind Dominguez. Boone has seemed to indicate that he could probably start. I don't know if he'll start on opening day, but relatively soon into the season, depending on how things go.
Absolutely. And there's this one Yankees pitcher. I forgot his name. His name is like Brent something in the spring training. I wrote a piece on this on Stadium Rant. They may really have something in this kid because he was throwing.
It's Will
really
Warren,
well.
right?
Yeah, Will Warren. I'm sorry. I thought his name was Brent. I don't know. Where did I come up with Brent? Yeah. They have something in that kid.
That's okay.
And they really, again,
he's
it's hard to
well.
prospect.
He's throwing well.
But they may have something in that kid. And if he continues to throw that well, I could see him getting, more time in the majors.
I don't know. There's too much disruption on that team. Clay Holmes is gone, right? He's going to be starting for the Mets.
Clay Holmes had to go. He had to go.
Yeah.
I mean, and thank God Frankie Montas is not on the team anymore. He can't stay healthy at all.
No, he can't. But hopefully the Mets can find some use for him this year.
I'll give you my ranking for, obviously number 1's the Yankees. Number 2, I'm going to go with the Orioles. Number 3, I'm going to go with the Red Sox. And I agree with you putting Toronto at 4 and Tampa at 5. I mean, let's be real, Tampa, it's like nothing to see here except prospects that might be something in a few years. Or if you want to go see them play in a different area. But the point is, this division is so hard to pick. I can see anyone going in any way, and I wouldn't disagree with them, except for the Yankees at last place. That's not happening.
Every division is difficult to pick. The NL West is even difficult to pick. We'll get to that on another show.
I would have to agree with you there.
Would you say that the AL East is the most difficult?
Yeah.
A lot of people would be in that camp, I think.
All right, so for my rankings, and for any Yankee fans who want to buy the Yankees are going to win the division,
Austin, you're wrong.
I have a 35-mile long, 24-karat gold bridge I'll sell you out in Phoenix for anybody going to bet the Yankees to win the division. Red Sox 1, Toronto 2, Tampa 3, Baltimore 4, and the Yankees out of contention by Father's Day.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong.
I like the way you think, Will. We're on the same page.
I do. I think the Blue Jays at 2 is a little rich in my book, but I kind of like
What's your issue with the Blue Jays? Just past history, or
a mixture of that, and I just don't know if they have enough depth to go like all the way. I think they need another year to fully get
I have to
themselves.
agree with
well,
my
in another year, they won't have Bichette and they won't have Vladdy. So it's this year, or it's never going to happen for them.
But they could get a huge haul for both of those guys at the deadline.
They could. I mean, if they're out of it, then it's sayonara by the deadline for both of them.
Yep.
And then it's full rebuild mode for the Jays.
But I have to side with my fellow Louisville Cardinal, Austin. Hey, the Yankees have a better shot at going 0-162 than winning that division.
Stop it. You can't go. What, you Mike Francesa, dude? Like, you're not going 0-162 in baseball. That's impossible.
The Yankees are the third best team in New York City, and there's only 2 permanent teams in New York City.
Who are the 2 higher except for the Buffalo Bills?
The Mets and whoever's visiting the Yankees.
Exactly. You know, it's full implosion with that team, okay? If there's anyone who's going to be sellers at the deadline, it's going to be the Yankees.
If Garrett Cole was healthy, it'd be different.
You think Goldschmidt is the solution? You think Bellinger is the solution? Both of those guys are on the decline. You're talking about both those guys will have to be candidates for a comeback player of the year. Both of them will have to be. And
I agree. The only contract I was kind of like interested, but like not excited for, JC. I'm gonna. You're grinding my gears, dude. But the only contract I wasn't too big of a fan of was Goldschmidt, mainly because of his age, and he has not looked good since he
Goldschmidt.
I'm sorry, I keep pronouncing his name wrong. His name.
I fumble names quite frequently.
I think the Yankees are a year or 2 away from a new dynasty, just not this year.
They need Garrett Cole. Without Garrett Cole,
they need those prospects get some gray in their beard.
Get some gray. Yeah. Well, now they can grow beards now. Actually passed the rules.
Last year, you had an average Red Sox team, right? You had an underperforming Blue Jays team. You had a Orioles team that was a little bit weird. Right, Burns was great, but they had no depth in the rotation. They picked up Eflin that helped a little bit, and Tampa Bay was Tampa Bay, right? So the division was not very competitive last year. So the Yankees didn't have to do very much to kind of run away with it. And by the time Cole came back, the division was fully theirs. But entirely different story this year because, as you've alluded to already, the Red Sox are built, man. Like, they are equipped going into the season. The only question I have with the Red Sox is the tail end of the back end of their bullpen.
I was about to say that the only reason why I think the Orioles terrify me more is I'd prefer their bullpen over the Red Sox bullpen, but I get it. I really do get it.
Yeah. Well, they've got Chapman going to Hendricks, right? And both of them, the last couple of years.
Our closer is going to be Justin Slayton.
That's going to be the closer?
Pretty sure Slayton's going to end up being the closer.
Yeah. Okay. So what happens to Hendricks?
He'll be the 8th inning guy. Chapman will be the 7th inning guy.
Chapman's going to just eat up innings. Okay. So it's going to go 7, 8, 9 with those 3.
I think you're going to see us follow the Yankees' philosophy of a few years ago. If we could get through 6, just turn it over to the bullpen.
Well, the best example of that I could think of is the 2015 Kansas City Royals.
Oh, that bullpen was deadly.
Oh, not only was that bullpen deadly, I thought that was the best bullpen in the league. That bullpen was crazy.
That bullpen took them all the way. It was Herrera, Davis. Yeah. So if they can hand it over to 3 guys, like you mentioned, Will, that's a huge advantage. Huge advantage.
I
And,
got to ask you a question too, going back to the AL East. We didn't mention this because it's been a while since we've heard anything. You think the Rays might get distracted with whatever happens with Wander Franco?
I haven't heard his name mentioned in quite some time. They seem to
I
have
think
moved
it's out
on.
of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, I'll just start by saying this: with Wander Franco, he's done. I think he's done.
I would say so too. He's kind of gone the way of Trevor Bauer, right?
Oh, well,
It's sort of-
Trevor Bauer's a different story because
He
it
was
is a
supposed
different
to be
story. It is a
Wander
different
Franco-
story, but in terms of them being exiled from the league, like
I'll give you
if we're gonna
another
question-
name. I'll give you another name that would make sense. What's his name? Felipe Vasquez.
Yeah,
That's another
not-
guy. That's another guy who threw away his baseball career.
yeah, it's true. But yeah, no, he's exiled, and I don't know what the latest is on his legal case. I haven't dug into it too much.
I just
It's a
looked it up
shame.
right here. His court case was rescheduled in June 2nd, but that was in December of 2024.
Yeah,
So maybe it might be something to keep an eye on in June-ish
Yeah.
time, but
well, he's 25, right? I mean,
24, I think. I
is
think
he
he's
just 24 still?
Yeah,
He-
he'll be
he-
25. He's 24. He turned 24 on March 1st.
Yeah, he
But
had
he'll
all the
never be
tools.
back.
No.
It seems like Caminero has stepped in, and he's the new hype machine. as
Yeah,
far
he's
as
the
the-
new face. He's the new face of the team.
for sure.
But the next
Well-
topic we wanted to talk about, how big is the gap between the National League and the
Well,
American League?
We were going to get to the Garrett Cole injury. Do you want to touch more upon that, or have we already covered that enough? Do you think?
I think
We
we beat that
covered
horse.
that enough. I mean, there's really not much else to say. You know, like it was like I said earlier, it was expected. He was having elbow issues in the playoffs, and every pitcher needs Tommy Johns nowadays. So
But
Yeah.
as a Red Sox fan, I wish Garrett Cole was healthy because anybody who follows baseball knows there's nothing better than it being a cold October night, game 6 or 7 between the Yankees and the Red Sox. And I hope he gets healthy and the rivalry gets back on track.
You need that rivalry. He is an artist on the mound, and that's why it's so baffling because his mechanics are perfect, right? And it's just how hard these guys throw.
oh god,
That's why,
that-
why I worry about. I love watching Paul Skeens pitch, right? Who doesn't?
I don't
But
think
you
he'll
worry-
last long.
no,
you
he
worry
won't.
when. Yeah,
The-
you worry
the
when the
big-
shoe's going to drop there.
The big problem with this pitching is everyone's throwing hard and hard every day, even during high school, heck, maybe even middle
Yeah.
school. Of course, these
Yeah.
guys' arms are going to go out. Like,
Yeah.
you got to have rest, you got to have this, but no, these guys keep pitching
Yeah,
harder and
I'll
harder and
tell you
harder.
who Skeens reminds me of.
Livy
He's the
Dunn,
modern day Mark Pryor. Pryor could throw hard, but he threw his arm out and he was never the same. I
that's
would
true.
be shocked if in a year or two, maybe 3, Skeens hasn't thrown his arm out and he's not the same.
I see more of a Josh Beckett. I see more of a Beckett
I
style
can see
thrower.
that.
Yeah,
With, Skeens throws a little bit harder than what Beckett threw. I mean, nobody really throws harder than Skeens, right? Except maybe some bullpen specialists. He's throwing over 100 miles an hour routinely throughout his starts, right? But I don't know
Last
how
year he
it's
had 100
sustainable.
miles an hour in the 8th.
Yeah, exactly. But I've never seen anyone with a pregame ritual like Skeens either, right? So maybe he's onto something with the training routine. He's hit something revolutionary, and he's going to last longer. I really hope he does. But you're right. It's sad. It's sad to see these guys go down because Cole's going to be out for a minimum of 14 months.
yeah, and the worst part
earliest.
is too with all these pitchers and Tommy Johns. It's an epidemic because you would have to change the high school routes. And let's be real, some of these parents are crazy with these kids. I mean,
Yeah.
remember back in the day when Tommy Johns was starting to be a thing, they would give these kids Tommy John surgery just so that they are ready and prepped for it. And they're completely healthy. And they're like, no, let's do the Tommy Johns right now so he won't have an issue. Like, what is wrong with these guys back in the day?
Yeah, that's insane to go through with a procedure like that where you're essentially moving a ligament from one part of the body and attaching it to the other when you don't really, really need it. Yeah, that's an insane thought. But I was looking into it a little bit when I wrote the article about these lengthy contracts and having to factor in Tommy John surgery, right? Some of these guys, you're right, Nick, have had it so young in their careers, like when they were teenagers in some cases.
It's like, I think it's not only an issue with just the entire sport, it's the issue with the parents too. That's another issue.
Yeah,
and
that's
it's an
another
epidemic
conversation.
because I don't know how it's going to change without like overhauling everything, you know?
Right. Yeah. Well, next piece. Will, you touched upon it briefly. The gap between the NL and the AL. Is the NL really that much better? Do you think last year's World Series was sort of an indication of that? Or do you think it's more balanced than what we're being led to believe? I think if you look at the stats, there's stars in the AL, there's stars in the NL. I think pitching, you've got better arms in the NL. If you put a top 5 ace staff in the NL against the AL, the NL probably comes out on top. But in terms of hitting, offense, I don't know. Maybe this offseason it became a little bit more imbalanced than it was during the season last year. You had some heavy hitters move around.
I mean, just give the NL to the Dodgers. I mean, they are so stacked. Like,
so are the D-backs.
The D-backs. The D-backs are up there. But I just think the Dodgers, they have everything and anything, and they got everything spending wise. And the fact that Shohei Ohtani will be healthy to pitch and to hit is going to make this team even more scarier.
Well, I mean, is that a slippery slope, though? Why? I mean, does Ohtani need to pitch?
Yes.
Right? You've got 50-50.
If he wants to pitch.
The greatest offensive force, arguably, not arguably, the greatest offensive force the game has ever seen. And you've already got a rotation 1 through 5 or 6.
Yeah, but when this guy was
really
pitching,
balanced.
When this guy was pitching with Ohtani, I like to say this. He did something that no one would ever do. It's like in the NFL, if someone led the team in passing touchdowns and also led the league in sacks.
Right.
In baseball, he's a generational talent on both hitting and pitching.
Okay, but he's proven it, though. He's already proven it.
Yes, but if you take that away, I mean, like, that's just, like, that's a weapon you're throwing away.
Let's say he needs another Tommy John, right? If he needs another Tommy John, he's not hitting or pitching.
The Dodgers are going to pitch him, but I want it.
I would do both. I would have him pitch and hit. Because let's be real, Ohtani wants to do both. He wants to do both. By the way, Mr. Artie...
He's going to pitch.
Yeah, by the way, Mr. Artie Moreno, I hope you enjoy him as a Dodger. And good job there. Good job giving him the
JC,
Dodgers.
You're brave in speaking out against the mob mentality by saying that Trevor Bauer should be back in the league. That's kind of a rogue.
He signed to Japan, right? Last night he
signed to Japan.
Kind of a rogue comment. He pitched in Japan the other day. He didn't pitch well. I agree, though. It's from the information we've been given. It doesn't seem, there's no reason why he shouldn't be back in the league because.
Well, I think a big reason why he's not in the league. I don't know what's going on with the allegations. I don't read them. All I know is that they happened in I don't know. It's a.
He was never convicted. He was never convicted of a crime.
But I think the major reason why he's not in the MLB right now is because he talked out about Manfred. He talked out about the top players of the game. You can't speak freely in MLB. You can't speak freely in MLB. He exposed the cheating scandals because he was the first one to talk about the Astros scandal.
He spoke out about the spider tack.
That too. And he even showed it during one of his interviews that he was using.
Right. So what?
I agree with you. But point is, the MLB has a ton of reasons why, in their perspective, they don't like him. They don't. And I think it has more to do with that. And the fact that these allegations got thrown. And also, let's be real, too. Trevor Bauer, not a good social media person. If you see
I
some of his
I don't
tweets-
mind his YouTube channel, to be honest.
not his
I
YouTube channel. His YouTube channel, I'm saying his like tweets and like
What
everything
is
he
so
does.
off about it? What's so off about his personality? I mean, there's outlandish personalities
I
everywhere in
know,
sports.
I know, but I'm just thinking of the mind of the MLB. Like,
Sure.
I could care less about that. I really
Yeah.
could care less. I'm just coming from the mindset of MLB, the organization, and Manfred.
There's something that we don't know. There's something that
Exactly.
the three of us that nobody knows that's behind the scene that's probably still in contention on some level.
Probably.
And it's just not being disclosed.
And not only that, I don't know if it will ever be disclosed.
Yeah.
Knowing how NDAs happen, or like maybe they don't want to talk about it. I mean, unless Manfred's done with baseball, maybe someone could speak up about it. But I don't know. I don't know who knows. Who cares?
I know we're running out of time, but
I do care. I do care because I mean it is an odd situation when somebody's fully qualified to work in the profession.
I know, but
it's just not allowed to. You know,
it's too little, too late, though. Like I hate to be that guy. I used to love Bauer as the pitcher, like on the field, but like
Good
it's
pitcher.
too little, too late. It really is.
I agree, Adam. Santander plus Vladdy plus Bo. That middle of that lineup is, along with Boston, the best in the division. 3, 4,
Will,
5. Actually, it's probably 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
And then what you got? Varsho hitting 5, maybe.
Will, what were you about to say?
Middle of that lineup is pretty solid. I agree, Adam.
I was going to say we're running out of time, but A, I don't think the Dodgers are going to the World Series. The New York Mets are. And B, I'm going to say it today, and I'll probably say it every episode this entire season. Rob Manfred is the single worst commissioner in the history of baseball, and he is doing everything in his power to kill the game.
There's no transparency, and that's what I don't like. There's stuff going on, sneaky
Let's
stuff.
change every rule. We got the pitch clock. We got the bases.
I
got
like the pitch clock.
ABS.
I think the pitch clock was necessary for.
The pitch clock was necessary. ABS is a new beast. They're experimenting with it right now. I don't like it. Some pitchers don't like it. I guess that's another conversation we can have for a future show.
Now you got the DH in both leagues. You killed what used to be baseball is now no longer baseball.
Yeah. All right. I think we're probably going to close it up.
One last thing before I go. I think if you want to argue another commissioner who wasn't as great, you could probably throw Giamatti in there.
Well, his big case would have been with Rose, right? With Pete Rose, because
Which, by the way, Pete Rose absolutely deserves everything that got after him.
Like, we could have a full discussion about that.
And, we'll discuss that later. Point is, Pete Rose deserved it. He really did.
I agree. But there's so many layers to that conversation, and we're not going to really dig into it deeply enough in the final 5 minutes.
To be continued.
But, absolutely. So anyway, solid conversation. It was a popcorn conversation today, but that's okay. So Dirty Leather episode 2, we're looking at probably 1 week. We need to reconvene and look at our next topic. The next topic, we're going to shift the dynamic slightly and look at the AL Central, because there's some changing dynamics in that division as well, with the champion Guardians coming back, looking to repeat. And we'll probably touch upon the American League West in addition to that. That's about it. Any remarks from you guys before we depart?
Doug, Nick, thank you. JC, I know we tried to get this launched last year. You probably got tired of me blowing up your DM in the group chat every day trying to get this thing off the ground. I really appreciate it. It was fun, guys, and Yankees still going to finish 5th.
No, they won't. Yankees will be number 1. Number 1.
All right. Till next time. All right. Bye for now. Dirty Leather.
Bye-bye.
Over and out.